Hi guys, welcome to this session on Microsoft Access. In this module, we're going to continue creating a contacts tracking database. In the first section on this database, we basically just created a contacts table and a contacts tracing table. That's where we left it off. And then we created a form. So what I've done since then is added another table called locations and a few queries. So that's what I want to cover today. Now if I open the contact tracing form, you can see I've just sorted this out a little bit. So here's a contact main form, and on it there's a contact tracing subform where you've got this information, and I've deleted a couple of columns. And then I've added this second table as a sub form, which is a locations table. So when you're contacted and you've gone positive, you need to share all your contacts that you've had that you can remember, and then they will be contacted. And also any location that you went to where you know for certain you was there, you can give that information in as well. And then if I just close that down, I've then created a query called status. So this is just counting up how many positive tests there are from this this second table, this locations table. Sorry, not the locations table, the contacts tracing table from this table. So how many positive tests? There's 3 there, 4 people isolating, 4 people contacted. So that should go 3, 4, 4, which it does. However, that is not picking up, this query doesn't pick up the people that are in the contacts table that are positive, which is basically everybody. So it needs to pick those 3 up as well. 3 people there. So I've tried to combine both of those. So if I go combine, you can see there's 6 now, and 4 people contacted and 4 people isolating. So 6 people altogether positive. So that would be what you would produce as a report maybe. So how have I created all of these? So first of all, the locations table, straightforward table design. I've just added a location ID as an auto number field, and then some fields that I want in my table. Nothing spectacular there, no weird and wonderful things. And in the contact tracing table, I've got rid of a couple of things and added a few things, these things at the end. So slightly different from the one on the first section of this course. Close that down. And then what I did was I went into database tools and added the links like so. So contact ID to contact ID, one-to-many link. So one contact can have many people that he bumped into, and one contact can go to many locations. So that's all that is, just 2 one-to-many joins, and they're straightforward joins, all the contacts, all the people. Save that. And then how did I create this? So let's recreate this this first query. If I just go into design on this, you can see that it's a bit more involved than just a straightforward query, but I'll just create it again. I'll leave this one open so I can see it, and then just create a new query, which I'll then delete afterwards. So query design, and we're adding the contacts tracing table. Now normally you just want to add up how many people you've contacted, how many people were positive. So let's try this. This is what we're not going to end up doing this, but if I go double click on contacted, positive and isolating, let's run that query. They're just tick boxes, yes, yes, no. So what I need to do is add these up, how many yeses, how many no's. Now I know that the tick boxes either come back with a 0 or a -1. So if I go for the totals feature and do the sum option, you can see that when I run that, it's got a minus number in there. So I need to put the ABS function around that, which will just give you the true number. So I'll just get rid of the minus. It's just a little cheat really. So if I go back into that, I can't actually do it with the totals feature on. So I need to take that off, and I really need to get rid of all of these and just do it through the expression builder. So if I start in the first field and go to the builder, so it's a table called tracing, and the first one I want is let's go for contacted, and then in front of all of that I need to put ABS, which will change that negative into a whole number, and then sum, open the bracket, all of that, and then close two brackets at the end. Now, because this has just got one table, I don't really need this bit, but I'm going to leave it there anyhow. Click OK to that one, and then do the same for this next one. So that was contact, just widen this up a bit. That was contacted. So if I do another one for positive, so I'll come back into this, get the table, pick the table I want. So I now want positives, positive test, double click, get myself in front of that. ABS, open bracket, sum, open bracket, all of that, and then close the two brackets at the end. Click OK. Come down to the last one, which is isolating. So tables, tracing, got it right this time. Isolating, double click, and then ABS in front of that. ABS, open bracket, sum, open bracket, and then two closed brackets at the end. OK, and then when I run that, I've now got positive numbers, and now I need to change the labels. So you just go in there and change the, get rid of expression 1. So the first one is going to be contacted. In fact, you can't use the same word, so I'll put people contacted, and you can have spaces. It's not good to have spaces actually, so I should practice what I preach. Contacted, make sure the colon's there, and this is positive, people positive, and this one is isolation, people isolating. People isolating, and then if we run that again, it should do that for us, and then we can save this query. I'll call it QRY status 1, and I'll delete this one afterwards because I've already got it, and then I'll use the ones I've already set up for the next session. So that one works, but what it's not doing is adding up everybody. So if I just close this one down now, so that works, so status 1. So if I go into the form, we've got 3 records, so 1, he's positive, 1, 2 positive, 3 positive. Now if I go back and look at this tracking or tracing form, we've got 1 there, so that's 4 positive, 5 positive, 6 positive altogether. So we need to work this out. Now all I'm going to do is create another query. So create a query and add the contacts table, because that's all I want this time, and I only want the positive field. And this time I can use the totals because I'm just going to use one field and sum it and then run that. I get them -3. So I need to do exactly the same as what I did before. So I'm telling Porky's actually I'm not using that. I'm getting rid of that. So positive testing I'll put for this one, colon, and then we need to do ABS, open bracket, sum, open bracket, and then it's square brackets, positive test, and then close 2 normal brackets. Don't know why I thought I could do it different, but it gives me the 3. So I'm then going to save this as combined 1, QRY combined 1, and just close that. And then what I'm going to do is create a new query, just add those 2 together. So status 1 and combined 1. So positive testing needs to be added to this. These 2 need to be added together. So what I need to do is, so individually they're just positive numbers. So I'm going to go into the expression builder and I'm going to go queries. So query combined positive testing, doing a plus sign, and query status 1 positive. Okay, if I just run that says 6, which is correct. There's 6, and then I can just add contacted on this query and isolating from this query, and that they work anyhow because these two are only in that subform, this table, and this positive is in that table. Now if I run that, we get the correct numbers, and then you just need to change the label there, call it combined positive. You can call these whatever you want, really. It's totally to you, just whatever it makes it easier, because this is what you're going to be using. Save that query, call that QRY combined one, so I can get rid of it. I've already got combined 1, so I'm going to have to have it called combined 10. And then that is what you would base your reports on, these sort of queries. So you've got that one, and you need one for isolating, which I'll do next time, and you need one for all of these basically. If I go into the form, what do I want to analyze? How many people have been contacted? I've done the positive, isolating, dates contacted, maybe I do a query for that. And then it's just down to thinking what sort of reports you want out of this. But what you're trying to avoid is a duplicate, and I was speaking to my wife earlier talking about this. So if I was a person with a positive test, I would put my wife down there. She would be positive, but then she could go in this database and put me down, so there'd be a bit of a duplication going there. So that for married people, that's quite difficult, I think, to avoid duplications. But I wonder if the NHS has thought of that. Hopefully they have, otherwise we're having major doubling of counting people. But knowing the NHS like I do, they probably are doubling up, because they do that quite a lot when they do stats. But that's the end of this little session. I hope you enjoyed that, and the next session we'll take it a next step further forward. Thank you for your time.